Hello viewers and welcome to Pete's Potting Shed and the Lockdown Gardening Programme. Today we'll be giving some hints and tips to those who may be a little new to gardening and want to give it a go now they've got a lot of time on their hands. First of all, let's think about lawn care. Remember, your mower is like some teenage boys, a bit smelly, reluctant to start, and in need of refueling before the job is done. If you haven't got a mower, borrow your neighbour's. And if he hasn't got one, suggest he goes out and buys one. And always remember to walk behind the mower. If you're laying turf, remember it's always green side up. Now those new to horticulture often get confused by all the vocabulary. My friend Charlie got very confused when he started gardening. He connected his bulbs to the mains. He destroyed his daffodils, cremated his crocuses and gave a nasty shock with snowdrops. Do you know, he thought that a raised bed was something you took a nap in when you got tired. And he covered his lawn with old t-shirts when his neighbours suggested that it needed top dressing. He believed that the 4 seasons in England were salt, pepper, mustard and vinegar. Then he was taught that it was autumn, spring, summer and drought, and that in Scotland that there are only 2 seasons, winter and June. Now let's think about some handy tips. Do you know, to properly prepare to plant pansies and peonies, put plenty of peat in your pot. Oh, I do have trouble with me pea. Gardening requires lots of water, most of it in the form of perspiration. Now, if you want a lot of colour in your garden all year round with a minimum amount of effort, we suggest you fill it with gnomes. The best way to garden is to put on a wide-brimmed straw hat and some old clothes. And with a hoe in one hand and a cold drink in the other, tell somebody else where to dig. Never create a garden too big for your wife to cope with. Hard work doesn't harm anyone, but I don't want to take any chances. You know, whichever garden tool you need, you can be sure it's buried in the back of the shed. And remember, nothing ever looks like it did on the seed packet. When you're weeding, the best way to make sure that you're removing a weed and not a valuable plant is to give it a pull. And if it comes out of the ground easily, it's a valuable plant. Always be careful when you're planting beans close to the onions. Unfortunately, it has a tendency to produce tear gas. And finally, the one good thing about snow is that it makes your lawn look just as good as your neighbour's. Oh, now we have some breaking news. A recycling lorry has just spilled 5 tons of hair bound for a wig factory all over the butterfly garden. And Chris Evans is now combing the site for his students. A pyramid covered in chocolate and nuts has just been found in Egypt. Archaeologists believe it's Pharaoh Rocher's. And now, onto the roads. An escaped circus elephant has just been seen doing a turn on the Golden Valley bypass. Motorists are advised to treat it like a roundabout. And on the M5, a cement lorry has collided with a prison van, allowing the occupants to escape. Now police are on the lookout for a bunch of hardened criminals. Meanwhile, workmen are spraying Bulbasaur over the road to clear the congestion. Well, that's for all now. And remember, if you don't want to double dig, do it right the first time.